All right. Looks like the YouTube live stream is connecting. There we go. And we are coming up on 7:02, so we'll give it just another 30 seconds or so before we get going. Bear with me. All righty, we are coming up on click 7:03 on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. My name is Scott Weldon, and this is the monthly public meeting of South Carolina NORML, the South Carolina chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. As always, I'll start our meeting with our disclaimer that all of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis, and we do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. All right, I want to start by saying welcome to anybody who may be watching on our YouTube live stream, and also welcome to anybody who might be watching on YouTube as a recording later. Mentioning YouTube, I do like to point out that we are not monitoring the comment sections of the YouTube live stream. So depending on your device, you can either leave your comments below, to the side, somewhere like that. And we will check back after YouTube's done rendering our video. It usually takes about 24 hours. And at that point, we will try to address your questions, comments, and or concerns. Again, my name's Scott Weldon with South Carolina NORML. And again, this is our monthly meeting. I do want to point out, currently it looks like I am alone on the call here, our Zoom meeting. And that's partially, I'm to blame for that. I have not sent out, a lot of time, moments before the meeting, I'll sort of send out instant messages and Facebook messaging and a couple of different things to remind some of our normal supporters, our regular supporters, that the meeting's about to start. I'm hoping to get away from that particular behavior moving into the new year. I'm hoping to use our Action Network sign-up registration page for our meetings to be the contact point, utilizing the discussion feature that's in that Action Network format to do a email blast through the discussion chat shortly before the meeting's supposed to start, or an hour or so is my plan. Usually a day before and then an hour before. And I'm going to stall a moment while Kristen logs on here. All righty. Let me backtrack on that a little bit so I can kind of fill in Kristen. So the reason our room is basically empty tonight, or for the most part, is I did not do our normal blast out. Many times will blast through Messenger on Facebook and instant messaging and different ways to let people know, hey, a meeting's starting. This is the last monthly meeting that will be happening on a Tuesday for South Carolina NORML. Our monthly meetings will be moving to the second Wednesday of the month. Wednesdays will still be our South Carolina cannabis conversation. but we're throwing into that Wednesday mix. The second Wednesday will actually be our official South Carolina chapter public meeting. It's not that we don't already kind of cover some of this information on the Cannabis Conversation anyway, and so it just made a lot of sense to us to incorporate the Wednesday calls and the monthly meetings all into one. So with that mentioned, I need to quick jump out to our Action Network and get the link for the registration for next year's Cannabis Conversation Wednesday call sign up. It will all be one link now for both the Wednesday, for all the Wednesday calls, the monthly meeting and the Cannabis Conversation. So by signing up on this particular registration page that I've just dropped in the chat, and I'll try to remember to drop it into the YouTube channel in a day or so. Sign up to that one, then you should get notifications from the discussion page there, and as we update the event week to week on there. You should probably end up getting 2 notifications a week. One that says we updated the event, meaning we've changed the date. Secondly is usually a discussion post by myself once and or twice, usually once a day before and once the same day. So hopefully that won't be too annoying for some folks with all that messaging coming about the meetings, but I think it's going to be beneficial overall that we utilize that as our messaging system instead of me trying to run on a Facebook and message here and then, message a couple of people on Instagram and others through private text, and just doesn't always work out well. So that's kind of the top of the news topic, I would say, for this month is our meetings are changing. The monthly meetings, again, will be the second Wednesday of the month. Link for registering is in the chat window. And once you register, you will get that Zoom link to be able to check in each month. One of the nice things with that system is as I post to the discussion page on there, to the discussion part of that Action Network page, I will include the actual Zoom link, which I don't share on social media. Advised against by Zoom. You don't want those links with password attached kind of links sent out and just let anybody randomly come join the meetings. We do want to target our meetings to supporters primarily in the state of South Carolina. And we don't need people coming on. I've seen it happen quite often, even like NORML National for a while was doing Marijuana Mondays on Facebook Live. And you would invariably see a couple of people, a number of people start posting links, buy your marijuana here in the comment section on Facebook. Now, mind you, that's a pretty open forum where the Zoom, we're trying to keep it a little more controlled. And again, Zoom recommends password protection on all of their events for the most part. So, I do see Kristen's on with me. Kristen, any comments you'd like to make about the move of the meetings to Wednesdays?
Nope, I don't think anything from me.
All right, appreciate that. I will then kind of move on to our normal agenda for the night. Of course, I don't have it written down in front of me, so let me click the right button here and go get it. Like you said, click the right button. Here we go. Now I'm in the right direction. And as always, our monthly meetings are pretty much structured about the same. We're going to talk just a little bit briefly tonight about legislative news. State legislative news follows chapter business, committee reports, upcoming events. And as you all know, we don't really have any standing committees right now. We're hoping to get those formed as we move forward. So there won't be any specific committee reports. National legislative news, nothing really has happened in the past month since we've talked last. The big players in the descheduling legislation are the MORE Act, which is a House bill. Write your House representatives members to support the MORE Act. Again, that is a bill to deschedule marijuana. I believe it's primarily sponsored. I believe both MORE Act and what I call COA, the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, which is the Senate version of what used to be the MORE Act. I believe they're primarily bipartisan sponsored legislation, although they're viewed as Democratic legislation. So it might be primary sponsors are Democrats. I'm unsure. They're very similar to each other, except COA has been kind of redrafted since last session and has not yet been, actually still it's in the middle of the redraft or in the process of redraft. I expect to see that introduced formally into the Senate early this coming year. I don't want to say January, maybe into February. It's going to be early in the session, is my hope. So that one's not active. MORE Act has been moving forward. They are now over 100 co-sponsors, I believe. That was a month or two back. They actually hit the number 100 of co-sponsors on that bill. Has been voted out of committee, and I don't know where it's going right now. The other, I want to say 2 descheduling bills are Republican sponsored. I don't have the name of the first one in front of me, and I should know it offhand, but it is a deschedule only bill. I believe it's a Senate bill. It does no restorative justice features in it whatsoever. And it is what it is. And then the most recent descheduling bill is the Nancy Mace sponsored bill, which is a descheduling bill, which also does include some restorative justice aspects of it as far as expungement of records. I believe there's access for vets, improved research. And I would see comparable to the MORE Act. Yeah, they all have their good features and some have bad. Matter of fact, the tax rate in the Nancy Mace bill is called the States Reform Act, and it does have a tax structure built into it of 3%, which is much lower than what is in the Cannabis Administration Opportunity Act, which is starts at 5% after the first 20 million. I'll talk about that in a moment, but basically starts at 5%, goes up by about 5% per year to a peak of 25%. Now that tax rate of 5 through 25% is on the 20 million and first dollar. The first $20 million have an exemption and are taxed at half that rate. So basically at the 5-year point when the tax rate goes to 25%, the small grower, what I like to consider the craft grower, will only be paying half that amount, 12.5%, until they produce a 20 million in first dollar. And then the tax is only on that above $20 million rate. So, and the reason I bring up the craft growers is that's kind of why that stepped tax rate on that is to be a benefit to small operations, small growers, that kind of thing. Again, even at 12.5%, that's significantly higher than 3% that's in the Mace bill. I don't know what tax structures in the MORE Act offhand, but either way, these things will have some option and ability to change. Those tax rates may actually change in the COA Act when it's reintroduced. We'll see. I'm sure there were a lot of comments made on that during the comment period. Any questions at all on any of the descheduling bills at the moment, or any thoughts on those? If not, I'm going to move on real briefly to the Safe Banking Act. And I'm pretty much going to say, I'm not sure what the hell happened with that. Safe Banking Act was attached to a national defense bill, a funding bill for, I want to call it the NDAA, and I'm not sure if that's the right acronym, but it's a national defense something or another. And for the most part, that bill always gets passed, and the Safe Banking Act got attached to that. And then all of a sudden I heard it didn't. So let's see if I can do a real quick search here on the most recent kind of. Okay, there I see it. December 10th, Safe Banking Act removed from the defense spending bill. So I'm going to hit this real quick. The Safe Banking Act, which would prohibit financial institutions from being penalized for doing business with marijuana companies, was stripped from the National Defense Authorization Act. So it was NDAA. The omnibus spending bill pending in Congress. In September, the House included the Safe Banking Act as an attachment for the fiscal year 2022, but the act was removed by a conference committee in the state and the Senate this week. House Ed Perlmutter, Democrat of Colorado, confirmed the legislation's removal on Twitter. I'm going to keep this open because I want to go and read it a little bit later and a little bit further in depth. But it has been removed from, and I heard this, like I say, a little over a week ago. We're at the 21st, and this came out on the 10th. So about 2 weeks ago, week and a half. The Safe Banking Act has been removed from the National Defense Authorization Act. And I have no clue exactly why and or what's going to happen now. Looking at dates here, that is the most recent story I'm seeing on Google on the first page search. According to Perlmetto, the Safe Banking Act would strengthen the security of our financial system and keep bad actors like cartels out. Most importantly, it will reduce the risk of violent crime in our communities. Yeah, it gives me no information on what their next step is, and I haven't heard anything necessarily from NORML on it, so I'm going to keep that open. I will keep you posted as we move into the new year on that when I hear more. There was a comment I heard a little while back by some other advocates that are in the know. There has been some thought that they'd really like to see the MORE Act or COA or one of the descheduling bills actually pass before the Safe Banking Act. That may be something that has to do with something in the strategy and why it's been removed. We'll have to find out more about that again as we move forward. So Safe Banking is not attached to the National Defense Bill anymore. And that's all I have off the top of my head, federal legislation. I don't know of anything else that's moved in the past month since we had our last monthly meeting. And just to try and take a real quick peek at my calendar here. Our next actual monthly meeting will be Wednesday, the 12th, roughly 3 weeks and a day away. So it won't be a full month till you need an update, and I should hopefully have some information for you on that by then. Any questions, comments, thoughts on federal legislation at the moment? Chime in if you do. Otherwise, I will mention state legislative stuff. There's really nothing going on state level. Find my click here again. The only real stuff that's going on for me at the state level that I'm considering is, our upcoming lobby day, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. And of course, we are less than 3 weeks away because although I mentioned the 12th will be our next monthly meeting, the 11th, Tuesday, the 11th of January, that is the first day of the second regular session of the 124th legislature. Let me see if I get that number right. 124th South Carolina General Assembly. So this past year was the first regular session. They do a 2-year session in South Carolina. It was the first regular session of the 124th. We are rolling into the second regular session of the 124th. Excuse me again, folks. I'm not really well versed on the difference between like the regular session and if they have any special sessions. When I went and saw my local House rep not too long ago, she had these little books. I mean, it is the South Carolina 2021 Legislative Manual, and it's like a little Bible, man. But I don't know. It's got a whole bunch of stuff I don't feel like reading. And it talks about all the people that are there, I mean, it's really kind of handy to have, and there's no charge. So if you happen to see your representative or your senator nearby, ask them if they have one handy. There is some good information in here. One of the things I kind of have here is South Carolina Legislative Press 2021, accredited reporters at press desk. At this kind of, let's see if I can find it, this section over here. And Kristen and I will be using that as we contact some of these media folks just prior to our press conference, as part of our lobby day on February 9th. So that's one thing that's in this nice little book is it's got a nice little list of, newspapers and radio and TV representation, some photographers, which include like newspapers. That's what I'm seeing mostly. So anyway, we have a real nice list of emails to send to their editorial desk that we can send. Say, hey, South Carolina NORML is going to be at the State House on such and such a date. We're going to be having a press conference talking about our push to inspire the legislature to move medical marijuana legislation forward, and also consider decriminalization, harm reduction through decriminalization is our overall theme. We'll get more into that in the next week or 3 as we're moving forward on this and starting into the new year. But otherwise, state legislation is not going on until that January 11th date. Although there was, and I had a great conversation with someone the other night, there was a post by a group called the Palmetto Family Council. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, basically a religious-based organization, and they had a video on. And for the most part, the video wanted you to contact your legislators and tell them not to make medical marijuana a priority. There was more important things. But then they were making the whole medical marijuana. They started a little bit about marijuana and immediately flipped the script to opioids, opioid addiction, opioid overdoses, and we already have enough problems with opioids. You don't want to throw marijuana into the mix. Is kind of what their BS, I'll call it, was. And so, I mean, mind you, I wanted to almost thank the fellow, the executive director of their organization for creating that little video, and I also want to thank one of our supporters for contacting me with it, because it was the inspiration for me to post a couple of action alerts for our members to go out there and say, contact your legislators and say, yes, make medical marijuana a priority. And on that organization's Facebook page, on the video that was shared, there was definitely plenty of supportive comments in there that definitely we see our supporters are active and they can call out bullshit when they see it. But I'm psyched as far as our state legislative news goes and our chapter goes. We are psyched and ready for the upcoming legislative session. And with that, I'll kind of roll into chapter business. Not so much chapter business as upcoming events, I guess I'll call this. As I just mentioned, we've got our lobby day planned. Along with chapter business and let me see how I can kind of get this in a structure. Sent out our newsletter the other day, and we're talking about moving forward into the new year and some of the accomplishments of this year. And we've been growing. I mean, 2021 was our first year as the South Carolina chapter, state affiliate chapter of NORML. Previously, we were a regional affiliate chapter. With becoming a state affiliate, we feel here on our board such a greater obligation to reach out beyond the borders of the Charleston, Berkeley County, where many of us are at, and the Low Country going to. The Low Country spreads quite a bit south to the bottom, to the southern tip of the state around Beaufort and Hilton Head. And we needed to, felt an obligation to reach out beyond that, which we've been trying to do and which can be a challenge. And with that, I'll say we are always looking for volunteers to help us in our administering of different facets of the organization. A volunteer coordinator would be great. A membership coordinator would be great. And I think there's an event coordinator is another big one we're looking for. Fourth kind of primary leadership type volunteer we're looking for are chapter leaders. We feel that 2022 is going to be the time to start growing regional chapters from South Carolina NORML, and we're going to be trying our best to follow the model that Virginia NORML has been using, and that is by opening up regional chapters under our umbrella, under our 501c4 umbrella, so that each additional chapter throughout the state does not have to go and become their own individual nonprofit organization. They don't have to go through filing, creating a board, filing bylaws, filing with the IRS and the Secretary of State and all that. It's a lot of work, and we've been very lucky to have brought on a great accountant and treasurer onto our board that's been finally helping take a lot of that pressure off us to keep those things in order. Because although it's you have the freedom of speech protected by the First Amendment, as soon as you ask for any money, then the IRS wants to get involved at the federal level, and the Secretary of State wants to get involved at the state level. And there are lots and lots of hoops to go through to be allowed to ask for money in your nonprofit organization. All of our administrators and operators are volunteers, but it still takes money to operate the organization, whether it's paying our monthly fees for Zoom or our website, shopping cart, or our post office box, or lots of things start to add up. And moving forward, we will have some expenses as we get not only our lobby day prepared, but starting to found satellite chapters. We'll have to be able to fund them, make sure that they have at least a table and a banner and some brochures and things to start with as we move forward. mentioning that, I will drop this link into the chat, although I don't know if anybody live on here is going to be able to, will be able to visualize it. This is the application link for chapter leaders. We currently have 2 applications for Columbia. We're looking for a total of 4 leaders per chapter per region. We have to review the applications for the 2 for Columbia at this point, but we are starting to, in the next couple of weeks, probably right as the new year starts, we're going to be a little bit more active on reaching out and trying to find those other couple of leaders in the Columbia area, and hopefully Columbia will be our first satellite regional chapter. With that in mind, we're also looking to help them schedule up their first event. There is I guess they call it kind of a maker's market, vendor craft market, farmer's market in Columbia called Soda City. It happens every Saturday from, I believe, 9 to 1. And we've applied for permission to be at their event, and now we're applying for a specific date, and we are looking right now at January 15th to set up a booth table type thing at Soda City. I'm hopefully going to get some of that taken care of this week so that we can have that in place as January starts. And my hope with that is one of our applicants and one of our supporters up in the Columbia area, he's a DJ, and he knows about having to haul equipment around and store equipment. And so he may be able to store an extra table for us and a banner and a couple of little odds and ends that, we'll have up there as the startup for the Columbia chapter. That, cash box, little donation tin. And that's kind of how we started here in Charleston a little over 5 years ago, was a little 4-foot table, a little banner that hung on the front, a donation tin, and, that's where you start. I think we ended up getting some brochures. That was one of the first things we kind of do. I love our brochures and the NORML Freedom card that's in there. But to me, that's pretty big chapter news as we're looking to grow. I do have a small list of areas I'd like to grow to. Excuse me. Again, Columbia is an obvious. It's our capital. It is the 2nd largest city, I believe, currently in South Carolina. I don't think North Charleston beat it yet. I believe it goes Charleston, Columbia, and North Charleston, and then I think it wanders off Mount Pleasant and Somerville. I mean, quite a few of them right in the Charleston-Berkeley County area that are larger cities. So I'd like to see a Columbia. I'd like to see a Greenville, Spartanburg. I'd like to see a Florence. I'd like to see a Myrtle Beach, Conway, a Bluffton, Hilton Head, Rock Hill, Aiken, and possibly a Somerville to sort of take over some of the activities in this region. So we'll see. That's long term to be able to get more than 1 or 2 or 3. But Columbia is a great place to start, right there in the capital. Our hope is this will also give us an anchor point in the Columbia area to be able to stage some equipment, be able to have somebody in that community that can sort of act in our behalf as we're preparing for our lobby day. Good example is my hope is maybe if there is anything that I need to take up early, some signs or whatever, I can maybe leave them with this person and pick them up later. Actually, signs, I don't think I'll have to. Although I must say I got informed last night that one of our board members has family in Columbia, and their plan for our lobby day is to go up the day before, the evening before, stay with family. And so they will be there bright and early and fresh without having to travel all the way up there, as my plan is to travel up that morning. So we'll see how it all plays out, but it's nice to have some contact points up there, some folks that might be able to say, hey, I know where you should park, or something like that, which is some information I'll be reaching out for as we get closer, instead of just having to look at Google and the internet and hoping to find the right spots. Mind you, with the State House, there's a couple of parking garages nearby, which I think are pretty much going to be our main options. But we'll keep you posted as we move forward on that stuff, getting closer to that February 9th date. Any questions about satellite regional chapters or events? I do see Kristen's on. I know we need to get some events going here in the Charleston area as well. So I'm going to ask Kristen to kind of keep your eye out as we're moving forward. If you see an event you think we maybe should apply for, I know there's a few I'd love to try to get to. I mean, SeaWee, which is this Southeast Sports something or another wildlife event, draws in a lot of people from all over the state, probably throughout, probably even further. But there's sometimes big events I'd love to get into, and then they go, nah, we can't let you here. Or sometimes the costs are prohibitive. So if there is somebody that's holding an event out there, you're seeing this on our YouTube channel, and you'd like to invite us to participate as a nonprofit at your event, send us an invite by going to our website, scnormal.org. Head over to the contact page and send me a message. Let me look one more time here at agenda. Committee reports, upcoming events. Well, I kind of just covered upcoming events. Committee reports, as I mentioned, we don't have committees right now. We do have we have committees, we just don't have them populated. One would be our membership committee, so I'm just going to real quick touch on membership. There is a discount code for 2021 members. You should have received an email that you can use for free shipping for when renewing your basic membership. If you do go for one of the expanded memberships that include a t-shirt or something, and both of the larger packages do, the system doesn't allow that free shipping coupon to work. Be assured we will manually refund your shipping after it's paid. Once we see they're, a renewing 2021 member, we will refund your shipping to you. And I haven't figured out how to fix that on our shop site, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that about couponing next time or next year's renew. We'll see. But we do have our new 2022 memberships available. And also, we have not announced, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I haven't formalized. We will be doing a membership drive again this year for the first roughly 6 weeks of the year through February 14th. So when you get your 22 membership, anywhere from when we first dropped them back about Thanksgiving until now, you will be entered to win a copy of Dope Man, the board game. And gonna probably reach out, see if we can get some donations or sponsors, a couple of extra goodies, but we'll see where that goes. But we will be running that membership drive again the first 6 weeks of the year. We do have our new badges on hand, very psyched. It has some information on the back, how to contact us and such. Other committee reports. We had a volunteer committee, events committee. Again, events committee would have talked about the events we just mentioned in our upcoming events. And I forget, there's another one or two committees. Advertising and marketing, something like that. Anyway, that's for the most part our roundabout of our monthly meeting here. Again, the second Wednesday of every month coming up in 2022, we will have the same basic agenda covering our overview of national legislative, state legislative news, our chapter business, and our upcoming events. So keep an eye out for that. Again, our newsletters will shift a little bit because we usually like to drop them just a couple of days, 2 or 3 days before our monthly meetings, So instead of getting them before the third Wednesday, you'll get their third Tuesday. You'll get them now just before the second Wednesday. Also, we will ask that you do sign up for our newsletter email list, because coming up with the new year, not only will you be getting your monthly newsletter, but we are going to be utilizing the email list a lot more for action alerts, contacting legislators, asking you to contact your candidates and asking them to fill out the candidate questionnaire, all kinds of fun stuff like that. We are hoping to kind of be, I don't want to clog up your email box, but I want to be able to inform you all about lots of action you can take moving marijuana law forward. All right, 7:41. I've talked longer than I expected to tonight, but that's not unusual. Again, I want to thank you for joining me here on the call, whether you're here in the room or whether you're here viewing on our YouTube channel. If you do want to reach out to us, don't forget you can reach out through our contact page on our website, scnormal.org. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We're out there on Facebook more so, but we are also on Instagram and Twitter. And also, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel in case you missed the meetings or would like to just watch them recorded later. Otherwise, that is all I have for you tonight. I look forward to seeing back here. Let me just double check. Tomorrow night, if you feel like it, we'll be on Wednesday. I haven't even announced the topic. Finishing up the year here with our what I'm calling our year-end wrap-up. The next two Wednesdays, so tomorrow and I have a feeling the 29th is pretty much just going to be a happy hour type event. We'll see how that plays out, a pre-New Year's happy hour event, but we'll see. So again, we'll be here the next two Wednesdays. We will continue with Wednesdays going into the new year. We hope to see you there.